Welcome to News 24's Bathathe Bafana podcast. My name is Tashreeq Vardien, and this is the aftermath of the 2026 FIFA World Cup opening between co-hosts Mexico and Bafana Bafana. Yes, we know the result. 2-0 as Julian Quinones and Raul Jimenez punished a below-par South African performance on football's biggest stage. Back on the global stage for the first time in 16 years. Can you believe it? Bafana Bafana were left frustrated in the land of mariachi, where expectation met a harsh reality at the Estadio Azteca. On the ground in Mexico, though, where the disappointment kind of still lingers in the air, we now cross over to News 24 Sport senior football writer Njabulo Ngidi, who is covering Bafana Bafana's World Cup journey firsthand. Jabs, how's it over there, man?
Still recovering, but good. I mean, yes, it was disappointing, but I think just the atmosphere, because after the game, having filed and done everything, was looking for food and walking around Mexico, and it was a vibe. Like there was the South African in me that was disappointed, but the football lover in me was just so happy. I bumped into so many people who offered me free beer. And I'm disappointed that I said no because of work, and I feel like I let myself down there. But just it was the sheer excitement and how like cars, like in terms of horns in the street and people, just like it was green. I mean, with the Mexican jersey all over, and people putting the night away in terms of celebrating their team starting like the way they did. It was great to see, but obviously from a South African perspective, there was that disappointment in how poor our team was.
So this is sort of our first of many shows, throughout this World Cup. And I just want to get a taste of your perspective as to how's the World Cup. I mean, you briefly gave us a view as to what happened on that first opening match, which we'll get more into. But leading up to this World Cup, obviously, I spoke to some people in Canada as well as some friends in the US, and they felt there wasn't even a World Cup being held there. And without even knowing, hearing your words speaking about Mexico, I already know the Mexicans love their football. And just by that comment, what you said earlier, it gave testament to that statement that I didn't even know whether it was true or false. And you just, giving me surety about the Mexicans, and they know how to party, first of all, and they love their football. And it's just their third World Cup, or it was their fourth World Cup. Yeah, they know how to party. They know how to do things. As soon as you landed in Mexico, could you feel that there's a World Cup there?
I mean, for me, I was excited when Bafana drew Mexico. This is a chance to go to the iconic Azteca Stadium, which, I mean, words can't describe it. Like it's breathtaking. It's a piece. Like I'm not religious, but it's a temple of note. It's something glorious. So when we drew Mexico, I was happy. And when I found out that the team's base is also going to be in Mexico, I was elated, because when you look at the three countries, Mexico is really the genuine football nation. Canada is, and I think Canada is going to be a force in years to come, but they still like hockey country, and then NBA, and then basketball, and like football is not the thing. And there's been so much drama around the US that going there is not exciting. Like it's just so much nonsense that did not involve football that we've had to talk and write about. So with Mexico, even though they've also had their challenges, I mean, there was a strike in terms of the teachers who were striking. They wanted to be an increase, and also wanted the government to subsidize their pension. So there was tension around the World Cup, and they were even threatening to shut down the opening game. There have been places where, like at the center in Mexico City, where protests have been going on for a bit. On the eve of the game, I mean, moving around was quite hard, because some of the elements of the protest were still there. So they've had their issues in terms of building up to this. But as a South African, I mean, we are the striking capital of the world. It's something that that once the game starts, yes, we have grievances and things that we want to, in terms of a better life, but because of the sheer love for the game, that things are going to change. And it's the case with Mexico. I saw that I'm going to the right place the moment I was connecting from Miami to to Mexico City, because when I was in Miami, I mean, yes, the airport is not a great place to get a sense of a country, but it's an international airport where some of the people arriving for the World Cup were going to land. So the fact that there wasn't good visibility of the World Cup, I mean, there were a few ads that I saw, but those were like big corporate sponsors. There wasn't anything that had a personal touch that is saying this country is going to be hosting 75% of the World Cup games. I mean, there were more Nick fan. I saw more Nick's shirts there than I did of football, and there was even a Miami Heat store there. So, and like that's when I saw that okay, like this is where I'm at, because if you contrast that to Doha, I mean Doha, like it was PSG territory. You could see that it was a mix of celebrating their ownership of PSG and them winning the Champions League back to back, but also the involvement they have in the World Cup.
So, in the lead up to the match, you obviously went to all the press conferences and all the media offerings within the sectors of Mexico for Bafana Bafana and the Mexican national team. When you saw that starting 11 leading up to that particular game, was that an expectation? Were you just as surprised as everyone else back home?
Some parts of it shocked me. Some parts didn't. I was expecting to him to start with three centre backs, because we're playing against a team that is playing at home. They're gonna want to be on the front foot and score early and calm the fans, because in as much as Mexicans are great as supporters, they're also quick to turn on their team. I mean, even yesterday, they at some points they were booing their team and whistling them when they sort of started dropping the tempo and trying to like manage the game. They were not happy, and they made sure that the players are not happy. So when you've got such a group of fans, you want to be on the front foot early, score early, and make sure they're on your side. So to counter that, Bafana Bafana had to like defend well and defend in numbers. So that didn't surprise me, because I thought the plan would be to absorb and then hit on the counter, absorb and hit on the counter. What surprised me was not having creativity and not having wingers. I mean, the three holding midfielders and two strikers who are not very good in terms I mean, yes, Ikram is power, but they're not very good at moving with the ball in long stretches of the field. They need to be making those short, sharp bursts. So that for me surprised me in terms of why would you do that. So I thought the counter would probably that Mudao and those ones are going to have to push quite well. And they didn't. And I think some elements of the game plan worked, but a large number of them backfired and backfired badly, because I mean Bafana hardly troubled the Mexico. One of the two times when the team really went forward, there was a promising break in the first half, and then the second one led to Mexico captain receiving a red card. So you just could imagine that if that defense were to be tested consistently by Napolis, Herele, Moremi, that we would have been talking a different story. So I think most of the decisions that Bruce made in that game, I think he tactically got it wrong. And that's why we're in this situation now, having lost 2-0. And it could have been worse. I mean, the saves that Ronza made really kept the team in the game. I think we could have lost 4-5-0, because we just had no answer going forward. And for me, that's the biggest disappointment.
Yeah, I was having a brief chat with editor at large at News 24, Adrian Basson, and I basically sort of just described it to him. I don't know if I said it to you guys earlier, that obviously if you watch South African sport and you're into South African sport, it just reminded me of something very close to us as sports lovers, sport journalists, something of like the Proteas. You get to that final, you get to that semi-final, that moment, and then you choke. And I don't want to, because that's what it felt. It felt like a choke. Njabulo, you and I, we've been following this team for now 5 years under Coach Hugo, and arguably this is definitely his worst match under his coaching tenure. And everybody just kind of froze. Yes, we had Mbokazi who played. basically won almost every duel, gave almost every pass directly to his teammates, but everyone else was a level below themselves. Even Ronza as well. Yes, he made a couple of saves, but at the same time, and I just wanted to ask you in a sense of, okay, we play that system, but you also mentioned from a selection aspect that the selection wasn't spot on for that specific um, formation. But if we were to have stuck to our old formation, or lack of a better term, just slot into our usual DNA, what has been the problem since slightly before AFCON earlier this year and late last year is that there's certainly felt a need for some replenishment in specific positions. And it's like you said in your analysis that uh, Bruce is sort of loyal to a fault to the players that got Bafana Bafana here. But in the same sense, he didn't have the hindsight to at least build players up in order for this tournament. So now you're sitting with that problem where you're slotting in the same players, but they're not delivering what we expect of an outcome because the expectations, unfortunately, are high now.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's a combination of things with this team. I think the occasion, I think it got to them. I mean, when you look at I mean, when they entered, and for me, why I say it's the occasion, it wasn't the atmosphere. Like when they entered, the Mexicans sort of jeered and whistled, but it was not intimidating. It was muted. And even when they stepped in for the game, the jeers were a bit louder, but not intimidating. I mean, Orlando is more intimidating than what was there. What they experience, sometimes players, what they experience at SFA was more intimidating. This was a fun outing with like thousands of people, and like it was not the type of thing that makes you freeze. But I think the fact that it's their first World Cup, 1.5 billion people expected to watch it, and for many of the players, this was an opportunity to make a name for themselves. I mean, you look at Umbugazi, who, I mean, the MLS is not the final destination. He's going to go to bigger and better things. So you look at that, you look at Jaden, you look at Teboho, who for many, and I'm one of those who feel like his time in the PSL is up. He should have left a long time ago because of just his sheer quality. So you've got that this is a shopping window, and you've got that you are representing your country for the first time in 16 years. I think all of those factors were just not there, and that's why for me that the team froze mentally. I think yes, tactically we're not good, but we lost the key fight mentally. And funny enough, I mean, before leading up in part of the build up, I spoke to Dr. Henning, who's one of the best like head doctors in South African sport. And there were a number of things that we spoke about in that article of what Bafana needs to do to step up in this big stage. And almost everything that he said this team must do, they didn't do. And he got back to me to say, like, these are the things that we talked about. And that's why I was raising this because of this, because the team froze. And it was bad. And that's why players have to take some accountability for how things went, and that's why they need to improve going forward.
And going forward, obviously, next weekend, not next weekend, next week, Thursday on the 18th June, is Czechia, followed by South Korea. As we know, earlier this morning, South Korea had a late goal and secured a 2-1 victory over Czechia. It makes this group rather interesting. But looking ahead to that match, what are these next days should they do in the sense of should they keep the system, number one, change the players, number
No.
two? Should they change, revert back to the old system, but then change players at the same time as well? Give the fringe players that's been on the outskirts a chance. I mean, we haven't really seen the best of Tapela Maseka. If we ever going to see the best of him, obviously he's not playing in the PSL. There's other players as well, Sebelelele, Mofo King, as you mentioned, Osborne, which was a surprise that wasn't in that starting 11 yesterday. But I want to ask, in a sense of that next match in this lead up, especially after listening to Hugo Broos in that press conference, because he wasn't too, how could I say, bashing towards his players in a sense of he didn't want to take responsibility. He still, for the life of me, I couldn't
True.
understand as to how he said we played. He said, for lack of a better term, I'm paraphrasing as to what he said. He said they played a good enough game to have gotten something out of there. Where, in essence, for you and I, for me at least, it was 90 minutes of of nothing. But what does he do now, moving forward against a Czechia side who's kind of hurt, and eventually taking on the South Koreans as well?
I think the big positive with this team is how they react well to disappointment. When you look at most of the things that they've done and have done well, it's been at the back of getting punched in the face, and that's what yesterday was like. It was a proper punch. So they have this psyche that they can rise above these challenges, and I think for me that's one of the problem with this team. They do not know how to play the big dog. They have to be put in an uncomfortable position. They have to struggle. They have to go to the ground for them to rise. They don't just step in and then produce when they have to. So that's good in that they have strong bounce back ability, and they've displayed that in the past. So that is a good starting point. I think also that the team needs to come in with a strong game plan. Bruce in recent games has been very reactive. I mean, you go back to the AFCON against Egypt and against Cameroon, same against Morocco, Mexico, where the plan has been to contain their threat. We do not take initiative enough in all of those three games, and that's how we ended up where we were. Because in all three games, I mean, even in Egypt, we had chances, and there were aspects of our game plan that worked, but we're just not ruthless enough up front. And I think it's because we've spent so much time in terms of what the opposition is going to be doing to us that we're not investing enough in terms of what is it that we should do, especially offensively. And I think that that's something that the team has to do. We need energy. We need creativity. The approach that we had against Mexico is not going to work against these two teams, and it helps that. Also, the thing is that when you're playing against the host, there's so many things that you have to fight against. So these ones are less mentally challenging, and especially, we're going to be playing Czechia in Atlanta, where chances are the crowd, we're going to have more people sympathizing and supporting us than Czechia, because in terms of where we at, and South Africa has a very strong ties with Atlanta. I mean, even with Chiefs, that's where essentially Kaizer Chiefs was born. So they're very strong ties that we have with the players, and that's why I think the majority of the fans are going to be backing South Africa. So we really have to like stop this reactionary nonsense, and really step up. And I think the harsh words need to be said to the players, that they have to step up, because I feel like the players and even Bruce are comfortable with where Bafana at. And that bronze medal, we wear it like a badge of honor, when the fact that we have a bronze medal means we did something wrong. That's not it. It's only achievement because of how bad Bafana had been. But in the bigger scheme of things, like even now, if I had to ask at the top of your head, who won bronze medal in 2010, like you have to think. You remember the two teams that were in the final, because bronze does not matter. But with us, I think it's become too much of a bigger deal that it feels like a trophy, that we need a reminder that, yes, we've progressed, but we haven't achieved.
Hmm. It's similar to what Ye told you in the week as well. It's where it's like we just stop once we achieve something, knowing that there's a long journey, a long road, and even more success for us to achieve. It's like we half squeezing the lemon. We got to dry it out.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
got to dry it out.
I think it's a South African psyche, and in most parts of things that we do, we get quickly comfortable, and we do not sort of just keep pushing. Like in terms of like, good is not enough. Like excellence must be the defining principle of what is it that what you do. And I think this Bafana team, because of where they've come from, good is great for them. When that's not enough at this stage.
So before I let you go, I want to play Selector. This is something we have been doing here at News 24 HQ that you can also find on the
Without
website.
me, you guys I understand why, but I felt so left out.
We were close, but I think everyone failed at the assignment given what happened yesterday. But I just want to ask you from my concerns leading up, obviously, even before AFCON as well, now leading up to this World Cup, defensively, we don't have a centre back partnership. Based off just Hugo Bruce's success at guiding Bafana Bafana over many speed bumps, his success is usually relied on combinations from two clubs, if I could say that, Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates. So this back four, is it something that we should think of? Or I'm not really convinced by Emi Ocon just of yet. Yes, he's still very young, 21 years old. We have quite a few young centre backs in the squad. Ndamani as well, Kabini, who can left centre back. He's only 25, 26 years old. So of course, Nati Sabisi is the only real experience there. Then we have Mbokazi, who's played football for all of his life, but and he's
I
an
mean,
anomaly.
with Bafana's with the centre back pairing, it's like who's gonna partner Bogas? Like,
Yes, that's the thing.
well, we know one answer of it. It's just who.
Ooh, and I think that's where Bruce is probably most likely trying to figure things out. There is a case for whether we bring in Kabini for Aubrey on that left. We know Aubrey hasn't played much football in the past month. I was surprised to see his name in that starting 11. But yeah, just give me a gist on your starting 11 for this next match, heading into against Czechia, which hopefully we can get a W.
I think because we're not going to be under that immense pressure in terms of the volume and just the mental aspect of the game, I don't think we need to have a back three in that game. I think we have to keep the four that we've sort of have used, and I mean Ime is good. I think is definitely one for the future, and you could still see that he's still finding his feet, and that when he does find his feet, he's going to be an asset. I think our future centre back pairing is going to be Ime and Bogazi. Like that is where we're going. But for the game in Atlanta, I would partner Mbogazi and Olwetu. I mean, Olwetu plays in the MLS, and the two of them understand each other. I mean, they grew up in similar conditions, speak the same language. It's going to be easy for them to click, because I think the challenge with our centre backs has been clicking and communication. So if we have Mbogazi and Olwetu, then they're going to click, and they've got good protection in Ronza, and that he's able to organize his defense, because both are not the most vocal of people around. They speak when they have to, but not all the time. But Oletu and Bogazi have great leadership qualities in terms of just marshalling the defense, and they're good. They're physically strong, and I think for us to beat Chechia, we have to bully them physically. So if we have those two, then we're going to be covered. And I think in midfield, we should start with who have talented, partner him with Debza, who like picks himself up. I mean, like Debza and Ronza are the first two names on the team sheet, and then you can figure out the others. So out in centre mid, I would go Talente and Debza, and then on the wing have Apolis, and also have who on the other side have Rele. So that's the four. And then up front, I still think there's value in terms of Ikram, in terms of Foster, what he does aerially. So I would still have him lead the attack, just tinker with it, and then give Jaden the free role to sort of play playmaker. And it's something that also he can sort of interchange with Urele, because also Oswen can play both flanks, so he's struggling. He can, like, if for instance Modiba is not pushing enough, he can go on the other side, change with Rele, so that Kuriso has a bit space to go forward. So that's my 11. It's Ronza at the back, in goal, Modao and Modiba at fullback, centre back Oluwetuen Bogazi, midfield Talent and Deboho, on the flanks or Apolis and Rele, and then up front is Forster with Jaden having a free role. What's your 11?
No, my 11 is I would have really have liked to have seen. I like Sabisi just because Eman TLP have played together and they have that
Yeah,
communication. I was surprised that Macania didn't start in that first match against Mexico, given that he has
he's the
that.
only one who's played there.
But for this game, I'll start Sabisi alongside TLP. I'll keep the flanks the same. There wasn't really a problem. It was nice to see Aubrey wasn't as bad as I expected him to be, but he needs minutes in that legs. And the thing that I really like about him is that he can slot into midfield, and he offers that security as well. But I don't know if his fitness is up to scratch as well. So whether they start Gabini as well, it doesn't really matter. But I would prefer Aubrey to start on that left side. In the middle of the park, obviously Tepsa chooses himself. Now that we have Satole, I'm a big fan of Satole, but he's been
Yeah.
short of his old self since that freak.
Yeah, that injury took a lot away from him.
That injury is almost 2 years ago, right?
Hmm.
If you really think about it.
Was it the AFCON?
Yeah. It's almost 2 years ago. I'll go Jaden next to Tepsa just for continuity. I think I don't know. I don't think we may need the muscle of Mbata just yet. We could bring him on maybe later in the game. I'll start Oswan on his left. I prefer him on that side. He just causes havoc, and then he seems much more comfortable. I'll give Relay that chance in the middle. Playing that 10 role. We know Bruce doesn't really like it, but I think he'll grab it. And much like as you said earlier, Oswin can interchange. And what I liked in Oswin's first season at Orlando Pirates, he did that quite often between the two of them. And that's what I was referring to earlier about Bruce choosing those combinations that has helped him to get over many speed bumps in Bafana Bafana. And Chipang Moremi on the right, and I'll go Reynolds up front.
I know, not Foster.
Because I've been reading your articles, that's why. But yes, what I wanted to ask, like, why'd you keep
I think Lyle has a faith, a confidence issue. I think his talent is not in doubt. I don't think he feels. I mean, the players have made him feel at home, but I don't think he fully feels part of the team. Because even, I mean, when you look at when in moments when we've done well, Morocco in the qualifiers, like even in these qualifiers, it's got key goals, and we do not remember the good that is done for this team long enough. And I don't think I understand why it wasn't at the AFCON. Obviously, I think a player's health, whether it's physical or mental, is a priority. But I don't think him not going to the AFCON helped him in terms of South Africa. Firstly, because that team then went and did well. And it was like, also, we can do this without you. But also, we have this history of players in the EPL who, when they get there, they start behaving like they're too good for South Africa. Quentin Fortune, Benny McCarthy, all had a terrible attitude towards Bafana, wanting to pick and choose games they want to play. And that is something that still lingers in terms of some fans who feel like the two really like look down on the team. And because now they've made it and they think that they're sort of better than the team. And when Forster does that, then the perception is that he's part of those people who think now that they're bigger than the team. So I think that's where his confidence that he does not feel fully accepted by South Africans at large. And that's why whenever we don't do well, he's a scapegoat. It's him. When you look at even yesterday, how many passes he got, like Lyle does not move. He's not going to do much, but he holds the ball well. When he's in the box, he's good. And we've not played enough to his strength to see the best of Lyle. And I think the injury at Tembazwane robbed Lyle of someone who knew how to play with him and play for him. Because when you look at when Tembazwane was there, those are some of the best moments of Lyle Foster, because Tembazwane just knew where to put the ball. And the current group, I don't think they're doing that enough. I think Rele is someone who should, and it's frustrating with what Bruce is doing in terms of holding him back. I mean, when Mexico put on their wonder kid when they were 1-0 up, Mora, and they were in control of the game, the fans went wild. Like, they went wild. They were so excited because it's this breath of energy and fresh air. And Rele can be that for Bafana. We've seen him at Pirates when he knows how to step in big games and just deliver. Leading a team like Pirates when you're that young takes a lot. And I think Rele should now be a key member of this Bafana team. Yes, there are going to be challenges. Yes, there are going to be setbacks, but he is good enough to invest in that. This is our number 10, and we're going to work towards making sure that we build up his confidence, and he's a strong part of the team that when we need him the most, he's able to do that. And I don't think Bruce has done that enough. And I think it's one of the things that he hasn't done well in recent memory as Bafana coach.
Well, in Jobs, we have 2 games left in the bucket. Hopefully, either 4 or 6 points off of that, and we could smile away into our first ever knockout rounds. Until then, we'll check in back with you next Wednesday, a day before the kickoff against Czechia. You can find all Njabulo stories on News 24 Sport. Subscribe and have a great weekend.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure, man. Cheers.